Day one, lesson one, first lesson in probably 14 years. Excited to see what's gonna happen today. I can blank the driver so far right, it's not even the fairway over. It's too fair, you know what I mean? So there's a lot, but you know, I can still scrape it together to beat Steve.
About any injuries or anything like that?
I am the fittest person you know, except for Steve, who he's had injuries.
Just now.
He's hiding them though. Yeah, that all the hand thing. We were supposed to play, and then he starts because he knew I was gonna like do some trash talking because he was backing out, and then he's just sending me photos of injuries, and I was like, it looks staged. I gained just the right amount of body fat, so you're
just
all
so
kinda,
you got leverage.
Exactly.
That's perfect. You got the Bryson going on.
I'm ready to go. Good. You know, when in doubt, just put on 20 pounds.
We're going to try and figure out what you got going in your swing. Let's start with the pitching wedge. Go towards this black flag out here. So I always want you, obviously, to have a target.
Copying my first lesson in 14 years. But then when
But
Steve talked you out.
Good.
Well,
good.
I was in Thailand, so I get like instruction in Thai. I don't know if there's like a communication barrier.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you got a good action. So you've been struggling, huh?
I don't break 100 sometimes.
We want to fit what's kind of more natural your bike type.
Okay.
We're going to have some people that are going to be very upright.
Right.
Because think about, I have a guy that's 6'7" that's very crouched over.
Right.
Why is he crouched over? He has short arm span.
Right.
He's got
T-Rex
short
arms.
T-Rex
arms.
T-Rex alligator arms.
That's not good.
So it depends on your body type
Okay.
how you're going to be.
Okay.
Right. But you've got a good motion. I mean, we like a nice posture, and so far, I mean, golf's more face and path is the biggest thing.
Okay.
The most important thing.
There's horrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit that.
And that's kind of the shot I hate, where it's the super high, floaty,
Yeah.
but I can never compress it so it has any zip.
You always play without a glove?
We were just talking.
Okay. No biggie.
No, I usually, lately I've been playing with a glove. It only feels better.
Yeah.
But I used to not because they didn't want to cough up the 15, 20 bucks for it.
Yeah. I get it. This is how you judge a player as an instructor. Speed.
Right.
So he's got tremendous speed. So what I said, you've got tremendous speed.
Right.
That's how we know we can do good stuff, because it's hard. It gets harder and harder when people repeat speed.
Right.
Sometimes.
Nice bladed wedge. He's just telling me he's only been playing like 8 months.
Oh, it's phenomenal. Well, think about this in baseball. This is all baseball, so it's a good analogy. So we swing baseball, right? If I'm pitching, we're going to swing like this. We're going to hit like this, right? But think about it. So now we just get closer to the ground. It's get lower and lower.
Right.
Right? And also now making a golf swing. That's why baseball players are so good. One, they learn to use their body.
Squash the bug.
And they squash the soda can.
That's what these kids are keep. Like it's like a mantra. They're like squash the bug, and they're just crushing the ball.
Yeah. And they use their body, good leverage, everything. Hockey players too. Hockey players pound it. Let's switch to a 7-iron now. Let's see some 7-iron.
Yeah. So I mean, I met probably 3 people who started during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And he's like the 4th one that they're like shooting mid-80s out of.
Some of those people are lying, I believe, but that's still.
Well, Steve's Canadian, so
yeah, that's true.
I don't know. Now it's gonna cost me money. Do you play with your hands ahead a little bit, or more even with the?
I like a little head.
Okay.
The only thing that won't really be ahead is the driver, because it's up in our stance, but I like it a little head.
Okay.
Yeah.
So more like up here?
As far you're like taking the grip ahead of the hands, right?
Right.
Like, yes. A good rule of thumb is kind of like the 5.
Okay.
Like you kind of want it there. That's good. Good. That's my son.
What do you think of the Mizuno Hot Metals?
Fantastic.
I hit these and I was like,
They're great. Fantastic clubs. Okay, let's go in and look some on the big guy. You just need 7.
okay.
Yeah, just a 7. So we're going to hit off this kind of this black circle here.
Okay.
And then at the yellow flag.
Awesome.
Okay.
I'm going to the yellow.
Yellow flag, yep. Good. That was a good swing. Good.
Organizing. A lot of loosey-goosey leg action, huh? With the right.
Well, come over here and take a look. I think you got a nice posture. I think everything's good. Take it back here. I mean, it's a touch, maybe a little inside. You might like the club in a little bit more where the left arm feels a little tighter.
So more like a left arm across the body.
Yeah, like it's almost the grip is going to scrape your thigh, right thigh as you go back at
Gotcha.
that club. The club just a touch more outside, but it's not bad.
Have you ever? I mean, do you ever recommend that one feel where the butt goes back first?
Yeah, but I only recommend it. See, your face is pretty, like I would recommend if your face was open.
Right.
But their face is this is what I consider square. I feel like where the club's more facing the ball, it matches your spine.
100%.
Because I don't like an open fit. I'd rather even have it closed than open.
I was reading that Dustin Johnson keeps his club face square to the ball the whole time.
Well,
that's what's the thing.
We got him in here. So now, see, I think this is where you get a little danger.
Flat?
Now, this is a 7. No, I think this is good. I don't think it's bad, but I think, now watch, we've stopped. You watch your turn. Everything's we're kind of stopped turning right now. It's just, we keep going.
Right.
I think we're a little long.
A little Colin Montgomery wasted. It's a little sloppy.
Yeah, well, I think home kept turning a little bit more, right?
Okay.
And like a John Daly, when they get long, they're still keeping, there's a lot of rotation. I think you'll sink it better. Like you talk about those tour players look like they're effortless.
Right.
They're sinking better. So I think you could feel like the club head has the longest to travel, right?
Right.
The shoulders and hips can only turn, they're only going to turn so much. They
Right.
don't have that far for you to go. So you can kind of feel like your lower body stops, the club head, grip kind of gets close to our thigh, club's a little outside.
Got it.
Everything's still, club head's moved a good distance, and then everything moves together, and we stop turning, our swing's done in the next swing.
Okay.
And like for a 7-iron, you were on launch speed. Like it's very, and I love fast swings. I think for you controlling the flight and the ball, we gotta give this some time.
Right.
Blow it up a little bit. I think it's a little bit quick.
Okay.
Now, like you can watch it in the real time over here a little bit. I love it because it produces speeds. I love fast swings, but I think you have a little bit harder time syncing it up. I think you
100%.
got to give it a little more time.
I've also noticed always like when I see on videos, it seems like my right hip goes back like that, kind of in a weird way.
Well, you have your leg action coming down. We can work on. Yeah, you're what's called you're this kind of what's a front post. We call this
Stack and tilty type?
It's stack and tilty type, and that's kind of how your biomechanics want to go.
Okay.
Like you're getting a good turn. Like just you watch. I think everything's good. I think if you stopped here, this would be good. But we keep going and see we don't have as much turn. But now I think we have a little what I call a forward lunge. Like we can compare it like.
And that gets it too steep?
Well, that gets it. Yeah, it gets you to Instead of you want some more rotation on him. He's an ultimate. Right.
DJ was here, huh?
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
All these that you're seeing are all from the same
I'm just
base.
noticing that, right? Wow.
Yeah. And we'll
It's like we could be brothers right here.
people
No,
100%.
not really.
the only difference is a little bit is the golf swings don't look as same, quite
Yeah.
the same, right? But you'll see this is the ultimate. This is the flexion. You see how deep his elbow's in. Let me get you to the top here. Get you in a similar. We'll get him back. His top is swing, and he's got a very long swing, but he's
Right.
turned. Look how turned he is,
Right.
right? Oops. Get you full. So you could kind of see the little difference. You look like to me that you're hanging a little on your left side.
Okay.
You're a little stacking tilt.
Right.
I think you can definitely have some shift.
Right.
And look, everybody can turn, like we can't all turn like DJ,
Right.
but you can go around, and if you wanted to be in golf instructor, you try to get people more shoulder rotation, you'd help 95% of the population, right? Almost every one of us need more turn. But you start to see a bracing of here.
Right.
You know, you've got good lag into the club. You see how fast he is. Like
Right.
even when we're clicking on the thing, how he's already down here. And you're a quick player, but that's just how quick he's swinging.
Right.
We should catch him. And you can see definitely we could get the hand a little more front. That's that right arm getting a little more in front of our body.
Okay.
That's that flexion. That's his. You always know he's famous for this, right?
Right.
If we get this flexion, bowed feeling, boom, this comes down. The right arm's more in front.
Right.
Right. That's what you talk about. Irons not being too compressed and hitting them high.
Right.
You hit them high because you come in a little bit this way, right? You lose a little of this.
Right.
Or if you had a little of this flexion, boom, it comes in and that right arm's a little in front. It's kind of that skipping rocks feeling.
Right.
Turning a double play in baseball.
Gotcha.
It's like the right arm's always under the left throughout the whole swing.
Right.
So, but to feel it, this is a lot.
Right.
We're talking about every little thing. And sometimes it's funny because you can see it's just a little behind.
Right. Looks completely different.
No, but geez. You know, it's not fair to compare ourselves
Right.
to him. I mean, he's the best player in the world. Even you watch even how he releases his head through the ball. He kind of stays down. Yeah, I'll show you a wild thing. You know, we call it releasing your head and stuff, and how really good it is. This is. We'll have David DeBall in here. He was here in 1999 when he was #1 in the world.
Right.
This is during the Tiger Woods era, and he's #1
He
in
won
the world.
4 in a row. Remember we won 4 in a row, I think, at some point.
He was, and people, you know, they'll say, keep your head down. We always hear, keep your head down.
Right.
This blows me away. Here he's at the top. We know it's this is 1989 because Tiger only has one major flag.
Right.
It's a Masters flag. We can tell by the wall. But watch his downswing and watch his head. He's not even looking at the ball there.
Right.
He's down the fairway now, and he's got halfway to go. So you want people to keep the eye on the ball. Now, this is the ultimate. I'm not saying everyone to do this, but it's a lot better than
Right.
this. And once one of the things he worked with Hideki was here, he would really keep his head. He really kept his head back like.
Does he have his knees kicked out or flexed
They're
in?
pretty. I think they're pretty neutral.
Neutral?
Myself.
And are mine too kicked in?
No.
No? Okay.
No. When I don't like you to focus on, you know, what you want to do if you're going to copy tour players, I like most people to focus on their setup. You know,
Okay,
you
right.
notice this is an iron, but he still has a little bit of tilt.
Okay.
So there's a little tilted at the setup.
Okay.
Right. So a lot more people tend to get these shoulders too level and even a little too down.
Right.
And you're good here too.
Okay.
I think you got a nice little tilt. Right.
Right.
But you got a nice setup. I think you guys ball position is vitally important. You have this grip handle a little more ahead. See this there? It's not behind.
Right.
Same kind of him's a little bit ahead.
Do you like the bowed wrist at the top?
I love it for most people. It's not for everything. You know, we don't teach. Most tour players are a little bit cupped.
Right.
Players that tend to be a little cupped tend to be faster swinging players because they go from this to this, and it tends to put a little more velocity into the club head.
Okay.
A lot, you know. But almost all players square the face early.
Okay.
And when you have a square face, then all you have to do is turn.
Right.
Right. You give yourself a better opportunity. One thing for you to watch is you watch how these guys, most of these guys, they keep turning. Everything keeps turning and turning, and they're not going to have too many irons go longer.
Right.
They're done, and then boom, they're going. Because this, 7 irons, this is about getting it near, right? Near the hole.
100%.
And you see, he's not have his right arm is in front as DJ is.
Right.
That's why there's a lot of different ways, but he still has his handle very forward. There's a lot. You can see the flexion, right?
Right.
It's very bowed, flexed in here. There's many different release patterns, but for you, this would be good.
Okay.
Because we want to get you more compressed.
Right.
And that's really good. You just see the leg action. You see, that's where we want to put. We'll work on.
He's posting up better.
Oh yeah.
Hitting against a firm left side, kind of.
Yes. That's a good thing because he really does. We'll go to the top. We'll go to you.
Am I getting ahead of the ball?
Yes.
Okay, that's what it looks like. Then I have to scoop it to use
Right.
my head.
See how much? Because you do this forward lunge.
Right.
Right. And you can see how much more behind. It's like
it looks sad to me.
But you put it. It's not fair to put your swing up always these guys.
Right.
And we're not always going to use these guys as model, but
Right.
you can model. You're more likely to model a player like this because you got speed.
Right.
Like I tell a lot of players they need to model their swings more towards LPGA players
Right.
because they're swinging slow.
He's got his knees very good squat
Yes.
separated, and I'm all sloppy with mine. You know what I mean? Like they're just kind of
Yeah. Well, look,
clanking around.
Look, it's hard when we lunge this way. And I'm exaggerating, but if
Right.
I go like this, how am I going to have this good leg action, right? So I come from here and I lunge instead of this left knee's going to feel like it braces. It's going to snap back.
Right.
Left shoulder goes up and out of the way for the
Okay.
rotation. Like he's going to do there, And he really rips it. And you just kind of see.
Yeah.
And these are some big things for you. The thing is, you're going to even hit it further.
Well, because he's kind of very straight left leg at impact, and I got the sloppy, like, loosey-goosey.
Little bowed, yeah.
Okay.
Little dip, right?
Yeah.
This little.
Yeah, that thing I do it all the time.
It's getting too much that way. You've got too much of this slide.
Right.
Forward lunge going this way.
Gotcha.
Your upper body will stay back. You're still going to pressure the ground. We're going to put pressure into the ball of that foot towards the toes, almost going to 11 o'clock. And then you're going to snap it. The feeling is snap it back. You ever see these guys, this leg goes back. Bryson really.
Mickelson had a video on Instagram where he was doing that.
Yeah, they do that. They use it in the ground to create speed.
Right.
And see, that's the great thing about this is that you're going to even get the ball further. You get this and this.
Will I hit it further than Steve? I want to hit it further than Steve. Steve, I want to hit it further than you.
It's possible.
Okay.
It's very possible with this.
I feel a lot of confidence in that one, but I'm ready to do some.
Well, look at just another look how extended the club is.
Right.
Extension, arms are very extended and it's released.
Right.
Club square. But you got a lot of good things in your golf swing. Lots of good things.
I'm ready to do some bowed wrist and leg snapping.
Let's do it.
Do you like to have a little bit bowed at address, or?
So that's a great question. So it's easier, find my big thread. It's easier to bow it if I have, and this isn't a great thing, but if I get my handle up, see this is Bryson, this ultimate, right? I'm bowed right now.
Should I bow it?
Yeah, I'm all for it.
I'm honestly,
You've seen what you're starting with. I'm willing to
I'm
change
starting
anything.
with-
I'm
you're
willing to
right.
change anything.
We don't have to do crazy stuff here. You got a tremendous go.
Okay, I'm here.
Yeah. Ooh, see the difference? Now you do see that? Now that's compressed and that ball's turning over.
Well, that one I try to work on keeping it more closed and bowed.
Yep.
But then I still feel like, because I've seen this before and this could be completely wrong, how tour players are actually starting the downswing with their legs before they fully reach top?
Yes. So you want to feel like, I think for you want to feel like the club head's the last to go.
Okay.
Okay, the lower body's going to start pressuring the ground.
Right.
You're going to want to feel rotation right away because you got this lunge, right?
Perfect.
Right, so
Right.
you want to feel turn right away. Club head's going to be the last. You could feel your left arm attached to your pec
Okay.
right as you start down, and you keep it there.
Okay.
And then it'll pop off and it'll fire.
Okay.
But it's like, so think about this. If you're water skiing, right?
Right.
And this guy's driving the boat here, water skier's back here, and you want to do, and the guy can do 30 miles an hour, right?
Right.
He can only do 30, and he wants to speed this guy up. How would he speed him up? He's going to turn the corner. He turns the corner, guy will rip out, right?
Right.
He's going to go faster. Now, if your water skier is out over here, he turns the corner, he's just going to slow down.
Gotcha.
And it's just like this in the golf swing. So I'm over here, I can't turn my hips, I can't do all this. I got to slow down, get to the ball, because if I turn more, it's going to get me more out, right?
Gotcha.
So the more this stays back in here, this will allow this rotation. It'll be easier to snap this leg back. You're going to have this more flexion, and this ball's going to be more compressed.
Okay.
And you already saw it. That ball flighted lower, and it turned over. And you could hear the sound.
Right. It's totally different.
Different.
But
right?
are you more of like, and this is the Thai lesson I had. His whole thing was kind of like, you take it back, like the right elbow gets it back, so it's like a one plane swing. And then at some point I started jamming it so far behind I hurt my shoulder.
Well, see, so that's great. I like that for some players.
Right.
There's some players great. We might have Ricky Fowler here.
Right.
That's great. But it's not going to work for Freddie Couples over here on the wall.
Okay.
Freddie Couples can't get. So
Right.
our biomechanics, our height, our wingspan,
Right.
how we rotate,
I
is all
can't
different.
dunk a basketball.
Well,
So I have
but people that can dunk a basketball can hit a golf ball a long way because they can use the ground.
Dustin Johnson.
You can hit it.
Dunk a
Yeah,
ball-
you can dunk a
dunk a
basketball.
basketball.
Yeah. Then they hit the golf ball a long way, but you got something you do well because you got tremendous speed.
All right, so I'm gonna start doing
Yeah.
a little bit higher hands.
Yep. Beautiful.
I feel like that time I cleared the hips
Yep.
instead of just kind of
Yep.
leaping into it.
And it forces you to, right?
Right.
It's just, again, you get more flexion, the club head's behind. The only way to get it back down, you're gonna have to rotate. You have to rotate.
Okay.
People don't, a lot of times when we see hips stalling, club's out here too far.
Right.
They have to stall.
I've been watching. If you've been watching Big Boy Pants Golf YouTube's House Golf channel, I'm doing a lot of this even on the 50-yard shots. My hands are literally scooping it, and it's
so
all
you know,
hands.
So you're getting the club outside, and you're
Right.
stalling. You have to stall to get
Exactly.
down there.
You're exactly what you just said is what I do in all, and it looks horrible.
Yep, and you can feel it. You feel this. You feel that you're having to do weird things, and that feels that yippy kind of feel.
And that's what is my whole swing feels at some points just you get one big yip. It's like one big hit and hope.
No, that's gonna be done. No, you got great golf swing here.
So you like this? You like this height?
I do.
My hands high.
I do.
Good.
So think about high hands are more draws,
Right.
right? Low hands. See, low hands are great sometimes in short game to hit high soft shots.
Right.
So low hands lead to more face opening, more wrist hinge, more likely hit fades and slices. This is more lower drawy, easier to cup,
Love
easier
it.
to hit the flexion.
I love it. Because you know what's weird? I was working on actually trying to put my hands lower, and now this feels better like this.
Good.
It feels more of like one piece.
Yeah. Good. See, what I like to do a lot of times is with Goldilocks. You know, a good way
Right.
to train. People train golf for they do things where they try to hit the same shots and work the same things all the time.
Right.
I like to get players get the handle too low,
Right.
get the stance a little too open, ball a little too forward. Now do the opposite. Get a little too high handle, get the stance a little closed, ball a little back, and start working your golf swing.
I like it.
Because now imagine when you go play with Steve. and you start having some trouble on the golf course. Because every player has a ball flight that they can do easier than another one.
Right.
I can hit draws and hooks all day. I have harder time hitting fades or slices. So what does it tell me about my golf swing? It tells me my swing tends to get maybe a little too end out.
Right.
Right? I can hit hooks and draws all day, harder to hit fades and slices. So when I'm struggling, I know that I need to work on more of a fade type pattern.
Right.
And that's now I Goldilocks my golf swing to figure out how to do it. I'll open my stance up some more. I'll mess with ball position. I'll change things with face, cupping, handle high, handle lower. That's how you Goldilocks it. And it's good to know when you get in trouble.
Right.
Because if you get in trouble, you're going to have to hit these shots. Why people have trouble taking it from the practice field here to the course. They hit on level lies to the same target, hitting 7 irons one after another. And they haven't really learned. Now they get on a course, it's hilly, balls above their feet,
Right.
balls below their feet. They can't hit a full 7 iron. They have to hit a 3/4 shot.
Right.
That's why I like for you to get better. I want my players to play more than they practice. If you can play as much as you can. And if you can go on the golf course late in the evenings, have a couple balls. And when you have a shot, if you hit one high and to the right, you probably cupped it in here, right? And the base
Right.
was open, you didn't have enough twist.
Okay.
This is just twisting. I don't like to get things. I like to even think of it with the forearms.
Okay.
Sometimes people struggle with the wrist. It's just taking the glove of your hand, feeling like it twisted, you twist it away, turning the gas on a motorcycle, boom, screwing in a light bulb,
Just getting that for the video. I love
boom.
it. I love it.
And then knuckles down to the ground. That's just another thing in the club will release. Those are all just different thoughts,
I like it.
right? You
I
can
like
even think the right hand,
Right.
like a little Spider-Man thing,
Perfect.
right?
Okay.
Most people do better with the left for whatever reason. I do better, but you can do the right hand too.
Okay. So if you're I'm thinking now, I'm feeling tall. I'm tall with the hands.
Yep.
I'm trying to get to this bow position,
Yep.
and then I'm trying not to
Yes.
clear.
Yes.
Versus
just trying to
jumping.
turn. Yep. You're trying to turn into a braced left leg.
Okay.
Right?
I like it.
Keep it simple.
I'm doing a little bit, maybe a little more tilted address.
I like it, yes.
Okay.
Yep. So tilt, more likely to hit draws, and you hit higher. There's another way to Goldilocks golf swings. You think about this, you think about side bend. Call it side bend.
Right.
So if I want to launch a ball high, how would I launch one high? I'm going to side bend the most. You can see how this would go the highest, right?
Right.
I get too much side bend. It's like, it's going to go super high.
Right.
I want to hit it lower. I could tilt that down a little bit more going through impact to hit it the lowest.
Okay.
That's another way to Goldilocks.
Right. In terms of what I'm doing, do you think? Because I've always hated that my pitching wedges are just this kind of moonball, or you know what I mean? They're not really like
Because
the Corn Ferry stuff I just saw.
well, and because so wedges, and this happens with great players come out of college.
Right.
They all hit the ball sky high, and what they have to do is learn to hit the ball low. So how do you hit it lower? Now a lot of players will get the ball a little back in their stance, not much. Getting closer to a golf ball hits it lower automatically.
Okay.
Just getting closer.
So I'm gonna try this one, just
Hey.
getting closer.
Just get closer and watch how much it goes down. And this is good. This is the practice field.
Right.
People get scared of trying things. That's,
Right.
again, we're Goldilocksing. Too far away, too
Right.
close. Short game, farther away, handle gets lower, adds loft, gets higher. Closer, it takes loft off, ball goes lower automatically. But they also cover it.
Gotcha.
There's tremendous cover.
And your address position, do you feel like your right hand is pressed forward a little bit, or do you feel like it's just relaxed?
You mean the handle a little head?
Do you feel like you pressed your wrist in at all, or do you feel?
I don't personally feel that. I don't have a problem with it.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you want the handle a little head. It's not something I would get too. But
Fixate.
see, remember the flexion?
Right.
So on wedges, this is a loft, this takes loft off. This is a loft adder, right?
Right.
But wedge shots, tour players will feel like, one drill we like to give them is a towel under both armpits, a big towel, right?
Right.
To feel this connection. We don't need speed. So
Right.
we don't, in general, don't like to add a lot of wrist. I like to people to try to feel almost no wrist, very around on each side.
Okay.
Okay, like a Ricky Fowler feeling,
Right.
very around on each side. Now, there's two methods, or you do the Sergio, we have players that have a lot of wrist action. Most people
think I'm
find
bad
it
with
much,
that.
yeah, because you're not trying to add a lot of speed, you're
Right.
trying to be consistent, and we want to flight these low.
I watched, I think it was one of the Molinari brothers, hitting spinning wedges with very minimal wrist action.
Yeah.
So, but when I was reading all the books, it was always like steeper, chop down,
and then it's like, I don't know, I
Some
think
of
they
the-
changed it.
A lot of Korean players, they do hit more, they're more on top, more fade biased.
Right.
And it's a fact. There's a lot, the great thing is there's a lot of ways to do it.
Okay.
But I tend to like players to be more round, feeling the towels connect, like a towel, big towel under both armpits, it stays connected, no wrist hinge, very round on both sides, covering the ball.
Okay.
And and I like them to be even feeling a little closer, to hit it lower.
So I'm standing closer now.
And this is to hit it low. We wouldn't
Right.
normally be this close, but we're just gonna try and hit a little lower one. Look at that. That was beautiful.
It's weird because
I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
I was trying to, like, watching all these guys at the Corn Ferry, they're always doing this practice where they're kind of looking and then they release right here with these
Yeah.
little, but my swing, I always felt like I'm already just like that.
Because you're just, and partly because you gotta, so whatever happened here, happened back here
Right.
earlier. There's a reason that created this over here, right?
Right.
And you're just not in this, you get a little more cupped, right? You're not as in good a position. You're coming
Right.
down a little more cupped and a little more steep, and you had to let it out. And then you're more over this way.
Right.
So you had to do some things to,
I feel like keeping my head behind the ball
huge.
and that snap is something I had never done before.
Because
I've always done the, and then I just
Yep.
kind of slide into it.
It's a bit, the hard thing people get hard, there's still pressure here. So see, I got pressure into my foot, my upper body's tilted, side bend away from the target. And you
Right.
can tell I have pressure over here, because I even got this heel off the ground. Because you still pressure,
Right.
you're not doing this.
Gotcha.
And I think part of it is, I think you loaded a little bit
Okay.
up here. So see, it's hard to go from here. Most players, when they get a little loaded on the left side, too much stack, they'll reverse and go backwards. I think that's a problem with the stack and tilt. I think some guys would get over here, right? And then downswing, they would back up. That's why we're not seeing as much of it.
Right.
So just loading up back here, it makes it easier to go more forward, in my opinion.
I'm gonna try to load them. I wasn't intentionally trying to do, I think it's just
No,
bad
it's fine. It's
habits,
just,
stack
I
and
think
go.
it's your mechanics. It's called the front post player. You know,
Okay.
they're just a little bit more. It's not bad, especially
Okay.
with irons. You can struggle with driver.
Right.
With short irons, I'm all for it.
Okay, I'm gonna feel like I'm standing closer.
I mean, that's just beautiful right there.
But now I almost feel like, because I have such a bad habit of moving my head forward, I feel like my head's, you know what I mean? Because
Yes.
what feels steady to me is my head moving forward. So now that
Yeah.
I'm keeping it steady, I feel like I'm moving backwards.
Yep. And that's good. That's a feeling you have to have, right? 'Cause
Right.
You gotta try and do something the opposite.
Right.
So if I was too much this way, we're gonna have to feel, and this is drastic, right? If I'm way over here to get to over here, in a golf swing, in a swing that's the second.
Right.
For yours is about 1.2 total swing time. This is drastic.
Right.
It is a drastic feeling. But that's what we have to feel, right?
You know what's weird is I was having a lot of follow through, especially the driver, playing horrible, and I would literally finish like this. Like I was saving with my hands,
Yep.
and everything had shut down, and at the end I was just like
You
this.
think, why would you save it to hand? So you say, why would I have done this? Then we could probably say the face is open. You could feel it,
Right.
and you're trying to create this flip and time it, and it's just hard to time, right?
Well, it made like Bernard Langer's swing look upright by the end. That's how I was literally would finish like this. It was
Yeah.
embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, look, all flights, the way we can fix a lot of issues.
And now it feels like I'm right here. Since I'm keeping my head back, it just feels like the thing's
Yeah.
snapping naturally at the bottom.
And it will. That's that water skier, right?
Right.
Water skier's back here. He just turns. It just comes out.
I feel like I wasted a lot of years of my life.
Okay, well, you're gaining them back quickly.
Okay, so I'm feeling hands high, a little closer, head behind the ball.
Yep. You don't like that? I don't know.
But my swing feels completely different.
Yeah. Good.
Because of the notches, because now I'm here, and now I'm just like that, just middle of that, and then it goes.
Yep. That's the thing. What's amazing is I think you're gonna hit the ball even further, and you've got a lot of speed already. 'Cause
Right.
I think this isn't as powerful. I think when you have this leg snap and this little bite behind it, and you got some more, the club's a little more compressed coming in.
Right.
Oh, those are all speed gains. That's every one of them.
What is your thought when you coming into impact and going through the ball? Do you have?
You know, you've got to remember. So, 80% of your total swing time is the backswing, right? 20% is downswing, total speed time.
Right.
So where do we want to make swing changes? The very first thing we want to make swing changes. We'd like to change them at the setup.
Right.
That's the first place you look because you're stationary, right?
Right.
So, because I can put a ball forward, I can put a ball back, I can close, open my stance, I can tilt my head, move my head around,
Right.
spine tilt. I can have a handle higher, handle lower, tremendous effects on the ball, right? I always start here first, because this isn't in motion.
Right.
Now, the next thing I charge 80% of the time is backswing.
Okay.
So, the backswing, if I can make a change that affects impact, I always think how this is gonna affect you.
Right.
Something, okay, if there's something I can do in here.
Gotcha.
And when it comes into here, what I want my players to feel at this point, this is what I call green light time.
Okay.
Nothing can happen, you don't have the ability to do anything good here to try and change something. It's too late, it's coming so quick to here. What I see a lot of players do is they kind of will stall, flip, and not slow down coming through impact. And I want to see arm speed all the way to the finish.
Okay.
That makes sense, this is green light time here.
I'm gonna,
Arm speed to the finish.
I'm gonna try to give it a little.
Because
Right.
if you're gonna hit it bad,
Right.
hit it bad 100 yards out there, but with speed.
I do that all the time.
How many times have you been on a hole that's tight, you're uncomfortable with your swing, and you put this guide on it, you still hit the crappy shot, but you never committed to it,
I
right?
do it in most of my videos now. It's the same, where I'll take a practice swing to kind of relax, and then the actual swing is the biggest steer job you've ever
Right.
seen, where everything is just like, please go and
That's,
play.
and you won't, and it happens at all levels of the game, and
Right.
that's keeping the arm speed, that's a Butchism.
Right.
Arm speed to the finish.
Okay.
And it's a great,
I'm gonna go arm speed to the finish on this one.
that was tremendous. And you know what's funny about arms, like you think about this, you think about my club, if I put energy into this thing, right?
Right.
I whip it. It goes into good spots,
Right.
just automatically. It just, but guess what happens when I start to slow down? This thing can just do more things. What do all the best players on tour have? What's the average tour speed? About 112, 113
Right.
club speed. And even the best players are at the 120 mark with their drivers. The very best in the world
Right.
are the longest hitters. The speed.
Right.
So when a club has energy, if a club has energy, you have to turn your body, you have to have rotation. These are all good things. So
Love it.
energy, I think more good things happen,
I love it.
right? It's the
Perfect.
players that slow down.
Feels
So-
good. I feel like I'm gonna change some a lot of setup things.
Well, we always want to start with setup.
Right.
If there's something in setup that will affect this, that's the easiest part.
Right.
Then we go to backswing and then we'll downswing the last.
Perfect. Feel good.
Good?
I feel great today. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We got that on video. Perfect.
Okay, I want you to see some drivers because there's no way you should be shooting 100. There's never,
You
ever,
want to
ever.
see a guy hit it almost where I'm like, I think my club's broken because it hit so far right? Where you
Yes.
I've done that before. I'm like, I think this club's broken.
So, I want you to have a great understanding of ball flight laws,
Okay.
right?
Right.
Path curves it.
Right.
Wherever the ball starts at impact is predominantly, for the most part, where the face is pointing, right?
Right.
Wherever it starts. So, if I'm hitting a big ball, if it's just straight push, I know my face was open, right?
Right.
The heel, if you hit it on the heel with the club, it can put cut spin, toe can put some draw spin on it. But if we're hitting them out of the center, and you can put the Dr. Scholl split spray on it so we know where we're hitting it. But then I know, okay, because I want you to have, this is when you play, I want you on the course. I want you to hit that one 100 miles right. Say to yourself, okay, I came through impact, ball with the face was a little bit open. Maybe it even curved a little bit to the right. Maybe the path was what allowed him to do. So I'm gonna do the complete opposite. I'm gonna try and close this face, flex it as much as I can, and I'm gonna feel like I'm a little more into out. So how could I get more into out? First I could start with my setup. All I could do is drop this right foot back a little bit, feel my shoulders a little more closed. That's gonna set me up more into out, because I'll be able to make a bigger turn, right? I'll get it back here, and I'll
Right.
be more into out.
I'm loving it.
So let's make it simple.
Right.
But the face you just need a little twist.
I feel much better trying to bow it, and I'll just kind of work on that versus
Yeah.
the sloppy thing I've been doing in the past.
This is what I want for you. I want you to have a one-way miss feeling. What I mean by that, I want you to feel, oh my God, this ball's gonna go 800 yards left. Because what would you do if you thought, you're gonna do all this good stuff, you're gonna turn, rotate, brace the leg, left shoulder up out of the way. You're gonna do all these anti-left things.
I love it.
Base gets open, what are you gonna do? You're gonna swing over the top, stall the hips, boom, flip it to try and save it.
Right.
And we can't, it's hard to time this.
Awesome.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like I've watched a lot of Lee Trevino. Trevino was kind of always a little bit bowed, and he's like one of the best iron players.
Yep. And listen, I don't teach everybody to flex, because there's a lot of good players coming in college.
Right.
But almost every player has this twist. But we don't, some people, I don't like to have people have to feel arms sometimes, because it's taught a lot of lessons, and a lot of people don't have success. You automatically, you do well. But a lot of things do this. Just by rotating, right? Lunging does not allow it's harder to turn my wrist. The club's more likely to come out steep. Turning, twisting, turning, more likely for that shaft to.
I love it.
It's a feeling of driving a car, right? Steering wheel's always turning right. Right arm's always under the left.
I have completely new feeling with the
Good.
like, instead of the sloppy thing, it feels like boom right there, and it's coming. It's a different sound.
It's confirmed. Let's hit some driver, because this is awesome. Because it sounds better, and you can just hear it. I can be turned away from you, I can just hear it.
I also don't feel like there's a million moving parts like the other ones.
Yeah. Just get
Well,
you
and also at the end, you're gonna have to give your prediction for Sunday's match. Like,
okay.
Man, you've seen Steve. I don't know. He also was in a motorcycle accident, so.
Yeah.
Man, that probably doesn't help.
Doesn't help. Doesn't help.
So I'm feeling hands.
Yeah. Yep.
Bowed. Head behind.
If you don't like that one, I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know. You just fixed my swing. Because I was trying all this other goofy stuff, and I'm watching YouTube videos all day long and be like, hands lower, doing this, doing this.
The problem with people get on YouTube videos, but they're not diagnosing their real problem in their golf swing.
Right.
There's a lot of I love YouTube for overall, but a lot of problems is they haven't determined what their problem is.
Right.
And they'll go through some fad or.
I tried the stack and tilt.
I don't. That's what golf. That's good, because that's how you Goldilocks. You want to try things.
Right.
The first thing you always try is setup. Nobody talks about the setup.
So I'm feeling here.
Yep. Good. I mean, that's just tattooed. I mean, that ripped.
Steve, I'm coming for you. But yeah, you know what just feeling like hands are higher, trying to bow it. I feel like it's shortened the swing. So I'm here.
That's the thing. So many good things happen we don't have to talk about.
I love it.
Like I don't want to tell you 800 things, because a lot of times the setup will fix something.
Right.
This flexion fixes something that we don't have to talk about. But there's no, and it has. We've already felt it. We haven't even talked about it.
I feel like also because you said my head was a little bit too much.
Yep.
It's from the trying that stack and tilt thing.
Yes.
You start ending up to way too much on the left.
Right.
No tilts.
And that's, I'm good for all kinds of things, but it's just not for everybody.
Right.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
That's still Titleist for you. So.
That's the title.
So I'm tall again. Bow in the wrists.
Yep.
There's the big right one.
So that's perfect. Now, what does that tell you? Right?
Right.
We didn't flex it.
Got it.
So you start doing that on the course. You're a quick swing player. You're just going to have to give it more time for this to happen.
Right.
Okay. That was just old swing. You didn't do that. That's all it is.
Do you recommend
And this, getting a little in front.
front of it?
Yep.
Do you recommend a better tempo?
So let's think about it. Let's do it. So how would we find tempo? So again, we're going to Goldilocks. So 10's going to be the fastest, 1 being the slowest. We're going to do some 2 or 3 tempos. So when I say a slower speed, all I mean is I want you to wind up more. Like if you're going to take a rubber band and I was going to hit you, I would just pull it way back to make it to go the furthest and the fastest, right?
Okay.
So when we go slower just means bigger wind up. We're going to when we transition. I'm not wanting you to be Hideki. I'm afraid everyone's going to try and start pausing.
Right.
Because Hideki, he does stop up here, but his lower body's going. I want you to feel like you just give it this big wind up, you let it fall a little bit longer, and then boom, we're in green light. Okay, so we're gonna do some of those, 2 or 3. Don't worry about where the ball goes.
Not worried.
This is just tempo training.
I love it.
Now your 2 or 3 is like still pretty quick.
Really?
It's quick. Yep.
So even a little bit slower?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna feel very slow for you. You're gonna feel, this has gotta be a 1.
Okay.
1 feel.
1.
So big wind up. There you go. Good. That was slower.
Okay.
See? So how would we do now? What we do the next? I go from slow to very fast.
Okay.
Okay. So fast, the number 10, like a 9 or 10. What I want you to think is your club is stuck. I just put your club in wet sand.
Okay.
And you're like, oh my God, and you gotta rip it out. And so what you're doing, you're just trying to put a lot of energy with a big turn, because if that club was really stuck, you rip it out.
Right.
And I still, I don't even want to say the next part, but just rip it out of the ground and put some energy, because we don't care where the ball goes.
Gotcha.
This will feel probably better for you.
Okay.
You like to be quick. And that's tattooed. So,
Right.
as a general rule, if you're going to go up and tell players they want to hit the golf ball further, one of the easiest ways to do it is put energy into the backswing.
Right.
That thing was tattooed. I already know from watching you, we're a player that's going to be faster.
Right.
We're going to have you more at that tempo. I think your ideal tempo for you is about a 6, 7. And I think that's where you should try to play at. If you ever start struggling, you're a guy that's going to need to be a little smoother, probably in transition.
Okay.
You got this Nick Price quick kind of action, and it's awesome.
Right.
And I see your speed. A lot of people will tell you to slow down and things, but you hit the ball actually better at you just tattooed it. Actually, even the slower speeds, you got a little bit wild.
Right.
And that's your kryptonite. That's your superpower, is your speed.
Right.
And I don't want to take that away. Sometimes when we slow it down, but if you start struggling, one of the quickest ways is to give it a little bit more time so you can feel some things.
Gotcha. I feel nothing.
Yeah.
I literally don't. I just come like.
Yeah, you're quick, and that's why you should shoot no score. You should never. I can't even. I got to go watch you play to shoot 100. I can't imagine it.
Oh, I mean, I told you, I was honest in the text. On my doubles are beating his triples.
Yeah.
As we're just fading and falling apart.
A lot of that's, of course. We'll have to get you both out here and playing some holes some days, because I need to do probably some course management issues. Because now I can see where you get in trouble. You hit that big flare to the right, penalties. So the only way for you to shoot high scores, 3 putting, penalty shots, in a drive that gets you you have to kind of chip out because you hit it behind trees or something.
Right.
If we avoid penalty shots, 3 putts, and you are able to have a second shot after your drive into the green, you're breaking 90 every time, and even have potential to break 80. It's too good.
That's solid.
No way.
All right. I feel I learned a ton today.
Good.
I mean, I have a lot to work on too, because before I had no idea what I'm even trying to fix. You know what I mean? You're just like flying blind.
Yeah. Just you got this head coming ahead with the face open, and then you would save it like this, so the club, and it's just hard to time this. So now the head's a little more back. You got this flexion, and you can return. You're going to be able to turn, snap the leg back, and you're going to rip it. That's that little higher handle address. That works for you.
Do you want? No, it feels. I feel like I was trying to work the opposite, but this feels much better for me to be up here.
Yeah, it's easier to flex.
100%.
Because this already starts cupped. When we get it down here, this is already kind of getting us in that open position.
On the Sunday, Steve and I have the match. Any prediction? Because you teach him as well.
Well, Steve has been injured, so Steve, you got to play like you're not supposed to win. You got hurt, so I always am nervous when a guy's hurt, because sometimes they play really, really well. But this guy looks pretty impressive.
I am going to psychologically destroy you, Steve, before you get on the tee.
It's real. I'm excited about it. I want to hear what happens, because it's going to be a good match.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
You got it. That looks good. And then look at what that's just changed in your backswing. You know, look at where that is. That's better. It's a little shorter, right?
I could still get more bowed, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, I had a lot
See, the funny thing, but that's good. You see, what you really want to look at, just flat, it doesn't need to be, it's almost, most people could never get in this position.
But if I did, would it be even better? John, if I got in this position, would you like me more as a human being?
I think you probably would find it easier to play golf. Because see, your wrist can only move so much. I don't know that it's a great feeling for you. Because then what happens when you feel this face being so square, and it's closed feeling. Now you're gonna have to fight this ball from going left, and you're gonna have to. That's why Dustin Johnson, he's so under. His right arm gets close to this body, and he's so twisted wide open because he didn't want to lose this thing left. And that's good things in golf. It's speed, power. It flights the ball, it compresses the ball. Your hands get more ahead.
It's crazy because I feel like I'm super bowed, but that doesn't look bowed at all.
No, and that's just a feeling.
Right.
And see how much more for you. I like to see this club more by this right elbow for you.
Okay.
Now that's not everybody's swing plane. Not everyone's swing plane should be this. But that's what it's inside the hands there.
I like. Okay.
Right? That's your water skier out here.
Right.
And he's gonna flip out.
It felt completely different with the hip thing.
You get a little more rotation automatically.
Right.
We'll do more.
Right.
But that's one of the things we can always do more. Club's exiting nice. The face is nice, square there. And I'll get you one of my things I'm gonna want you to do. I want you to watch that golf ball leave more.
Okay.
Is see how our head's down. It's called the head release.
Right.
Right. Not a biggie, but this head down I think is one of the worst things in golf. And players need to watch the ball. It helps you turn, rotate, keep the face square.
Gotcha.
It allows for extension too away from the ball.
And you know what? I always thought that my head came up early.
Yeah, it doesn't at all, right?
Right. Wow.
Look at that. But that's a great golf swing. Then you look over here. You got a nice looking setup. There's a little more tilt. I like your foot flare here. Good ball position. The handle's a little in front. These are all good. Nice takeaway. Getting a good turn. I think you even have a little more load over there.
Right.
You're not as stacked. Club's coming in a little bit more flexion. Handles a little bit more head. We can do more, but that's better. Leg works even a little better. Can do more, right?
Absolutely.
Head can come up earlier, right? See how long we're keeping it down. But this is just way better.
That was, John, you're a miracle worker. That was literally in 30, 40 minutes. Also, I'm a different person out here.
And thing is, for people, I don't like people to get too focused on the camera. I don't always like them to we spend all this time in camera hitting positions because the ball flight will tell us a lot of things.
Right.
If you were Matt Wolf in here, well, you'd be happy with how you're hitting the golf ball, but all of a sudden you're doing this crazy stuff. You'd be like, oh my God, I got to come here. Well, no, you could be Jim Furyk won $100 million, pretty unique swing.
Right.
So, these are the ball flight. The ball was down, it was drawing. I was going a little further, it was compressed. So a lot of good things were happening.
I'm gonna work on it.
Right? It was awesome.
Awesome. I mean, we got a good video. I'm gonna throw you up on the Instagram thing, and all the people I know because I play with all these little groups. I'm gonna be like, get over here, my boy John. John will fix you.
Love it.
I was hopeless, and now I have hope.
No, you are far from hopeless. You have tremendous talent. I mean, you can play. At some point, you're going to have rounds. I think you can break par. You're hitting drives over 300 yards.
I'm a kind of a creative genius in Final Cut Pro. It's just people are like, how did you shoot that? I was like, don't worry about it.
You just do what you do.
I just do what I do, and it was awesome.